Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It, and it has been a minute. I can honestly say I just did not feel like talking about movies over the last couple of weeks. And so my heart, my soul, my brain, just everything, just I've had the camera set up sometime, and I just like, nah, I don't want to do it. So it has just been a heavy period for me, and my heart wasn't in it. So. It wasn't until this weekend when Spike Lee dropped Da 5 Bloods that I thought I would have something that kind of got the juices going back that was both poignant and could knock out the cobwebs to get me to talk about the stuff that I do love in movies and television. So, watch the film called Da 5 Blood that it was on Netflix from director Spike Lee, and I will give you my thoughts right after the jump. Real quick, if you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. So for those of you who don't know, Da 5 Bloods is a new film on Netflix from director, producer, creator, everything, all the hats, Spike Lee. And it's about four men who, after a long period of time, decide to reconnect and reunite and return to the scene of the Vietnam War to dig up some old skeletons, literally, and some old things that they have tried to, throughout their life, bury and throughout history, bury. So here are my likes. What I really like about this film is that it's poignant. Like, here's the thing. When these films are created and written and directed and all that stuff, I can tell you that it's a long way out. And there's no way on the world that Spike knew that the world was going to be on fire and in the way that it is, as high as it was. Yes, this stuff has always existed, has always been there, but I don't know if he knew that the timeliness of what the world is going through and what this film does and is saying about said world would combine and mesh so well before. So it's kismet. I know it wasn't done on purpose, but I think it's very fitting, and I think he has been a director who throughout at the highest points of his career has been sort of the megaphone to speak to the masses, to let them know what is right and what is wrong and what is happening within the black community as far as race goes. So it's just fitting that we now have a story in front of us where everybody's talking about Black Lives Matter and how important all of this stuff is, that we have a story now where we're showing that while promised the idea or the concept or the conceit of freedom after serving in multiple wars, but specifically the Vietnam War and wars post or pre, said that the African American folks would get their freedom, and then that never happened. And I think it's fitting now to take the historical lesson via Spike Lee's overall story and kind of get hit over the head at a time that I think everybody needs to be hit over the head. Another thing that I really like about this movie is Delroy Lindo. His performance is phenomenal. All the gentlemen are great. Delroy is phenomenal. So let me speak about acting on two folds. One, I think it's very important, and I think it's great. We give Tyler Perry a lot of kudos, even though I say what he will about his work and the actual writing. He's done a great job of giving African American women above the age of 35 work, and because usually they don't have much access to stuff. I think it's great that in this film Spike Lee has given four phenomenal black actors work besides being Denzel or Will above a certain age group. I think that's phenomenal. They all do a great job. Now let me speak specifically about Delroy. My God, he is killing it in this movie. And in less capable hands of a less capable director and a less capable actor, there are moments when it could get to be a point where it's silly or quiche or like tongue-in-cheek, where you're going into moments of fever dreams or where he's speaking, monologuing, sort of like an Apocalypse Now, which is this movie borrows quite a bit for, or homages a lot to. It feels very like Shakespearean, and he has moments of bouts of PTSD where he's going back and forth within his own brain. And I think he kills it, and you see the entire arc from wanting to hate this man, to love this man, to when it's all said and done, your goal, what I think Spikes and Delroy are trying to do is to understand this man, is that the world took this man, chewed him up, spit him back out, and tried to put him back in the real world, and he wasn't quite prepped for that. And I think that's very important to have. So another thing that I like that I didn't think I would is the fact that there's a choice by the director to have the older actors play the younger version of themselves. Without de-aging them, without putting up any makeup. It is the older actors playing those. Now, I originally thought I wasn't going to like that because you're playing them against the younger version of Chadwick, so it looks like there's a bit of an age difference. But the reason why I don't like it, the reason why I don't mind it, and I actually appreciate it, is twofold. One, it gives more time to the older actors to play on screen the entire time, and they're capable of doing both. But two, there's this thing that as we get older, yes, the memories that we have are locked in at that age of that beacon of time, that point of time, but we start seeing ourselves as we currently are in those stories. And I love the way that that's sort of a play with how the brain operates and how a lot of the other things that Delroy goes through and all the flashbacks, it works into telling the story of how the brain is now a prisoner of itself and is no longer in complete control of how you see past events or present events. It just messes with the mind, and I appreciate all of it. I like that a lot. There's not much I don't like about this movie. Two things that kind of are more of an issue is that sometimes Spike gets in a way of where he's trying to tell too many messages at once. Doesn't happen so much here, but sometimes he tells a message and like, I'll let somebody else deal with that. For the most part, all the messages and all the points that he's trying to hit here do deal with systematic racism, so it's not that much of an overarching thou, but sometimes he reaches to too many things at once, and I wish he could stay a little bit more on track. But the other thing that really, it's just more so it's more so of an issue as a viewer. It's sometimes, I didn't really feel the runtime in this, but I do know that it was long. In the same way, although I felt the time with Irishman over Scorsese, but this is a Scorsese thing, this is a Peter Jackson, this is a Spike Lee thing. When you're doing a film where you're the writer, the producer, the director, and the editor, you sometimes get in your own way. And I wish a lot of these directors would also take the time to just have someone else look at their work and kind of come from an outside view looking in, because I think this movie is very good. And if it was 20 minutes to 25 minutes shorter, it would be great. And that's sort of the difference between, I just think Spike wants to tell everything. And hey, nothing that he's given us is bad. It's just that some of it the other things could be better if you just slightly removed a couple of things here and there. But all in all, I think this is a film that is poignant, that you should be seeing right now. And I definitely recommend it. On that scale, the thing, I don't do that so much with the Netflix stuff, but that scale of once is enough, give me a time stone that I never need to see it again or play it again, Sam. This would definitely be a play it again. This is a movie that, on that history lesson of Spike Lee can go so greatly give you with Do the Right Thing and School Days and Mo Better Blues and Malcolm X and Black Klansman. This fits into that pantheon of films, and I think everybody should be seeing it. It looks like it's #1 on Netflix, so it looks like people are. So I definitely say you should be checking this out as soon as you possibly can. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that is on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. Last episode, we talked about Artemis Fowl, which also came out this weekend. It's terrible, but we definitely discussed it and discuss what sort of happened to the young adult to movie genre as a whole. But that's it. Like always, I just want to say, everyone stay safe, stay healthy, be well, keep up the good fight for all of those that are out there protesting and making your voices heard. It's important to do that. It's also very important to make sure that while you're doing that, while you're fighting the fight, while you're angry, while you're sad, while you're hurt, while you're joyful, take the time to make sure you are still taking care of yourself, both mentally and physically. That's just as important. All right, guys, next time.